Hey parents, how do you discipline in a really healthy and positive way? We're Bonnie and Thomas Leota, and over the last few days, we've been sharing our story, the birth of creating champions for life. And this is a brand new to you parenting philosophy. It's something that Thomas has been working with his students and, through Little League Baseball, through coaching in Nintendo, 140,000 teenagers. He was able to guide them through working with Nintendo. And so he's had this to himself, this beautiful way to guide child behavior until he met me. Now, Tom, when you met me, I thought I was the best mom in the world. I served my kids. I always drove them places. I bought them things. I mean, I worked my ass off to make sure that they all had their own bedrooms, their own cell phones, TV on every floor, Toys R Us in every room. They all had beautiful clothes. I never actually really thought about what my job was as a parent before, but I just thought to be a good mom meant that I provided all of this stuff for my kids. I guess the truth is I wanted my kids to have the life that I never had. And that's the truth. It really, it's hard to admit. It's very humble for me because I thought that I was being a great mom, but actually I don't know. I wasn't letting them be them. What did you think when you first saw me with my 4 kids?
Wow. Well, it is a great question. And, first and foremost, the disclaimer here is don't ever blame yourself for where you are if it comes to reality that everything that you have learned about parenting could possibly not be set up for your advantage or in your best interest. But what I did see with Bonnie was I was thinking, my goodness, if she wanted to run one of those triathlons, where you swim forever, run forever, bike forever, she would be able to do it twice as fast as everybody else because she was taking on a challenge to not only just do everything for her 4 kids, but she was doing it all of them because she felt that if I do this, that makes me a great super mom. And as she kind of let the cat out of the bag is that she wanted to be able to provide the things that maybe she didn't have and had a good intention.
Yeah, my intention was I wanted my kids to know how loved they were and how special they were. And I thought that I could give that to them by following basically Super Nanny's lead, Dr. Spock's lead, the lead of positive discipline. You ever heard of positive discipline, conscious parenting, gentle parenting, attachment parenting? They're really all based on the same root foundation, which is to cater to our children, to get down on their level and to lecture them when things go wrong, to have boundaries and to maintain those boundaries. And, I did the best that I could. And at the end of the day, if you go back and watch my story, you'll see. But at the end of the day, I was literally, my whole house was taken over by these 4 kids. There was nothing that I could do to get them to get along, to get them to listen to me. It was very frustrating until Tom came into my life. So you saw that you could help me somehow. And so I remember...
Yeah, I could see it was because I've had many references. We're talking hundreds of references of moms falling into that same trap. Not consciously, but finding themselves there because they kept doing something for their little genius offspring after the age of 2 in this do-for mode, just kind of stuck in the same rut. And is there any end to the cycle of give until you can't give anymore and you're completely exhausted? So I saw her running this treadmill and boy, she could run it pretty good, but the months and years are going to be done very soon. So it was like visualizing her with a bucket and she's pouring the water in it and there's 12 holes in the bucket. So she could fill it up and it was constantly leaking out and she had the energy. You might be able to relate, moms, you feel like this, that you keep filling it all up and at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning and the bucket is Empty.
Mom, Jacob hit me. Mom, I'm thirsty. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I need this. Mom, I need that. Mom, I need a ride. Mom. It's like, have you ever thought like you're trying so hard to be kind to your children and understanding with your children, and at the end of the day you're just depleted and your kids are so ungrateful and always asking for more, and that's never going to end.
No. You know? But in creating Champions for Life, I've had that privilege and honor to just maybe be blessed or have it or make it happen. I never knew that this was ever going to be a parenting program to share with the world until it matched with Bonnie's super dream. And you kind of know a little bit about that. But I was thinking to myself, my goodness, if Bonnie even had a clue that there was a way to plug 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all holes in her bucket, what could she do with all that extra energy? She didn't have a clue. But I knew that if she could, wow, that would be a game changer. And so as we kind of, in my last video, we kind of let out the cat out of the bag. The reason why I was showing her some of these things is because I was a little selfish on my end. I thought she was like the neatest thing since sliced bread. Like, oh my goodness, I remember writing down on an intention card, the most perfect woman is absolutely perfect for me, and I list everything off, and my goodness, it was a perfect match on my end. So I showed her some of these things just kind of nonchalantly because it just came second nature. And this is where when Zach went to sleep and first time showed up the next morning, she went, oh my gosh. Her kids were actually putting a smile on her face because they wanted to play on the phone and cleaning her car. You remember the stories. And then pretty soon started to catch her attention because she has some people in her family that are in the school system working with kids 30 years.
And
never talked like
well,
this to
no,
kids.
because since what, almost for 100 years now, we've been taught, you know, that kids have emotional needs and they require attention. But nowhere in any parenting book did it say, allow your child to have goals and desires, create a parent-approved plan, and then teach them what to do in advance. So let me sum it all up for you. With zero prejudice. So I told you the other day that I had hundreds of sticky notes. My house was becoming more and more in order. I could see my kids having a new zest for life. But my son was in grade 8. And near the end of grade 7, he just stopped going to school. He basically had school refusal, right? He just wouldn't get up in the morning. And so then summer came, and this is when Tom and I were working together. It was through the summer. So come September, October, Jacob also didn't want to get up to go to school. And I tried everything. I called grandparents. I called his dad. I tried being nice. I tried yelling. I took his blanket. I tried water. I tried tickling. Like, you name it. Like, I tried everything. And I was like, betcha he knows what to do. So I phoned up Tom and I said, hey, my 12-year-old refuses to get up and go to school. 12 or 13 at the time. And what do I do? And then you said,
well, I kind of had a little inside information because I could see how their kids had everything. Like, first time I go into Zach's room, I thought I walked into a mini Toys R Us, right? They had everything they could possibly want. But what I remember I'm going, so I kind of guided Bonnie. I was like, so, Bonnie, does he have a cell phone?
And I immediately clicked because I'd had 18 years of personal development experience. I was a leader in business, and I had always been taught that if you do too much for your team in business, that they would never rise up and become independent and do things on their own. So I already had this neural pathway in my brain, this understanding of how that worked. So when he goes, does he have a cell phone? I knew right away what to do. And so...
No, just answer the question. You said yes.
I said yes, he's got a cell phone.
And then I asked her the second question. I go, who pays for the bill?
Right.
So it was kind of like one of those things of like, uh-oh, and that was the
it just clicked for me, right? Because it was like, oh, they love their cell phones. They would hate it if I like took the cell phone away. But did I owe him a cell phone if he wasn't going to go up and go to school? Was it my job to provide my son a cell phone? I'd love to hear your comments below if you see this video, what your thoughts are there. But anyway, so the whole thing is he had a goal, he had a desire to have his cell phone. And then I created a parent-approved plan. So I thought about what it would take for him to basically continue to earn his own cell phone. And so I make my parent-approved plan. I go downstairs and I'm like, Jacob, you know what, dude, like, I get it. This is your life. You know, you have some decisions to make. I already have a career and I know what I'm doing with my life. But tell you what, if you choose to stay home and not go to school one day, you're saying, hey, Mom, I'd like for you to take my phone for a whole day. The second day you choose to not go to school, you're saying, hey, Mom, I'd like for you to take my cell phone for 2 weeks. And the third day that you say or choose to not get up and go to school, you're saying, Mom, I really don't want you to pay for my cell phone ever again.
Yeah, I want to pay for it all by
myself. So I presented the parent-approved plan, and I'm like, fair enough. So repeat back to me what the stipulations are, how you're going to earn your phone. And you repeat it back, choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and I left, and I went upstairs and kind of left the responsibility to him to choose. We all have free will. We have free will, but somehow along the way, we've been taught to parent our children with total control. Mm-hmm. We've been taught that if they don't listen to us or do what we want them to do, that they're being defiant or bad in some way. And all Tom taught me to do was to make a plan, give him free will, let him choose, and leave it alone. And so I was so empowered. I felt so free. I went upstairs and kind of, did whatever. I'm reading a book, right? Flipping through a book, and guess what Jacob did? Yep. All of a sudden, he gets up, gets himself dressed, out the door, and went to school. And this was in grade 8. And the kid got up and went to school every day, right all the way through grade 12, got his graduated, and then now he is a full-time supervisor at the tire department at Costco, and he's 24 years old, living on his own with his woman, and totally independent, got a great work ethic. I mean, the point is that if I continued to yell at him and nag him, do you think he would have got up and went to school? Because at that point in time, they're getting up and they're going to school to please me. Right? And it's kind of like they don't feel like they have a choice. But following Creating Champions for Life, he felt empowered, like he had a choice. So here's the thing, a part of our story. And that was huge, by the way. If you saw that part, like, put it to work and let us know how it works for you, your parent-approved plan. So come November, as I shared in video number 1, I was very successful in business. I had over 10,000 people in my organization in network marketing as a leader. I was speaking all over the world. My income was about $20,000 a month. I needed about $8,000 a month just to pay my bills, my car payment, my house payment, my nanny, and everything else that I had going on. So my lifestyle was very expensive, but I had a dream since 1994 to find a way to empower all the kids by the time they were 12 years old. Now, my oldest son I think he was 13 at this time, or he was already 12, so I missed it with him. But it's never too late either. It was just, I had in my head that if child could know their greatness, if they could know how special they were and their potential by the age of 12, then they probably wouldn't have teenage rebellion. They would grow up feeling worthy and confident. And I just remember telling my dad, and my dad going, "That's nice, dear. You've never finished anything in your life. Whatever. Like, you're gonna figure out how to empower kids." And I didn't. I just attracted Tom to my life, who knew how to empower kids. So it was pretty powerful. But I had a decision to make, because I could see, like, I could keep this all to myself, and I could be empowered, and I could empower my kids, and we could have this and be the only family in the world that knew how to guide child behavior. Or I could figure out how to create a way to help you, to help the masses, to help other parents learn how to guide child behavior as well. And so I was like, whoa, gosh. I made a conscious decision to run a bath, my jacuzzi tub, lit some candles. I don't know if you've ever heard of meditation or visualization or whatever, but I needed to really dig deep inside my soul. I needed to talk to God, right? I needed some help. So I make a decision to have this jacuzzi tub, and I'm repeating just all the positive words of the universe that I could find so I could get on a really good, feel good vibration, and I could ask this question. And so I repeated the words peace, joy, love, happiness, prosperity, abundance, peace, joy, love, happiness. And then after about 20 minutes, and I know because I set the timer of the jets, and I was just like, what do I do? And in my mind, an answer came, and it was, I'm gonna cry. It was, it was, give everything you've got to creating champions for life. And so I phoned Tom, and I said, Tom, like I was all in. I was like, yes, I don't know what this means, but I'm all in. So I phoned Tom, and I said, I just heard from God that we should give everything we've got to creating champions for life. And I have no idea what that looks like or what the next step will be or how I'm going to pay my bills or anything like that. But I know we have to do this. And you said?
Okay.
So yeah, that gave birth to us getting together, taking the program, like his award-winning after-school program, the 12 principles, transforming them, mixing them in with 18 years, of personal development, but he also had personal development experience. So we knew the laws of success, right? That to set a goal gives yourself vision, to create a plan to achieve the goal, and then to persevere through obstacles. We knew that there would be obstacles. And so we got together, we flew from, he flew from the United States, I flew from Canada, we met in Mexico to put together the 12 principles, the 12 modules of our Learn to Speak Kid program. And then, like, I never had any clue on how to write a book. So we sat him down, and I'm like, okay, here's the points we want to make for chapter number 1. Here's the points for chapter number 2. And I just sat Tom down, and I continued to ask questions and to probe until he got it all out, recorded on audio. And then we had the audio transcribed, and we turned it into a book called Now Learn to Speak Kid. And that took a couple of years. So you can imagine I went from being an entrepreneur earning $20,000 a month to zero. So there was a heck of a price to pay for about the first 3 to 5 years as we were forging forward with this plan. And it was just all heart and soul. And so along the way, we ended up gathering a few clients, like a few test clients, pilot clients, I guess you could say, pilot clients. Sure. And what I saw was absolutely amazing. It was like every single person that engaged with these principles saw a transformation with their children or with their grandchildren. Every child had the same results. They were engaging, they were doing their homework, they were doing their chores, they were getting along together, they were helpful, they were happier with a new zest for life, and that continued on. And gosh, I mean, we even lived up a mountain with no power for a year and a half to be able to keep going. I just refused to give my energy to anything else other than creating champions for life. And then we attracted a couple of one-on-one clients when we were up on the mountain. And I mean, doctors and lawyers and business owners who were literally going to therapy and being told that there was something wrong with their kids, that the kids needed medication, and they found us online. And almost every single one of our clients tell us today, I was praying to God for an answer, and I found one of your videos on YouTube. And that's how we've got all of our clients up until now. And so last year we hired a business coach. I'm like, the goal is, and the vision is, how can we help every single parent in the world? Like every single parent in the world needs to at least know that this is an option. Guiding behavior versus punishment. Parenting with empowerment. And what I found over the last several years, if you're a one-on-one client of ours, we love you. But the truth is that there's only so much time in a day, and there's only so many one-on-one clients we can serve, right? We kind of cap out. And so it always came back to, but how can we help the masses? How can we help the masses? We need to get this out to every parent so that everybody can have a choice to make, right?
It's going to take us 100 years to kick a dent in the big global world.
Yeah, I remember actually sitting on the kitchen floor and crying and going, oh my God, like, we're going to die before we can manifest our dream until a few months ago.
Yeah, thank God for technology. We can do things today that we could not do 20 years ago. When this program was being all done with all these kids, it was all in a brick and mortar building. I was working in a school system of 28 different schools, having the kids come to the after school program, but it was not duplicatable until now because of technology. And if you have one of those cell phones, you can now have parenting in your pocket.
Yeah, our teams worked really, really hard to create an app with a 3-video series. The best way to help your child learn to self-regulate and master their emotions, because what we're seeing out there in the world is every year an increase in child mental disorders, oppositional defiant disorder, ADHD, conduct disorder, like there's so much, sensory processing disorder. I mean, I could sit here probably for half an hour mentioning all of the mental health issues that our children are having. And so when you do your due diligence and you look through history, there's a direct correlation to the positive discipline movement and the start, first of all, the start and the increase of child mental disorders. So we feel like we have a big mission out there. We feel like, I know, because every single client that we have clients all over the world now. Where are they?
Well, you got Australia, you got the UK, you have France, you have I think it's in Qatar, you have in Canada, you
Sweden,
have
Ireland.
You have in the United States. The idea is that this is not just a isolation of just here on the big blue marble. It is a universal situation globally. So at the end of the day, parents are going to have to make a very strong decision. Either pop a pill or teach them a skill.
Yep.
And that's really what it's coming down to. I'm not saying that option is right or wrong. That's your call. But to not know that the number one route from my 35 plus years has taught me and shown us again and again, every single kid that ever came in all had in common one or more missing life skills. These are called the basic fundamentals from birth to launching out of the nest. And when those are missing, boy, I'll tell you what, they won't tell you the secret because it is a business.
They don't know. Let's just say this. It is a business. Let's say this. Child mental disorders is a business and projected to be a $26.3 billion a year business by 2028.
Just for ODD.
However, I need to say this. I really believe that we are all doing the best we can with the knowledge that we have. But who writes the textbooks that the young students who are learning child development today in university are learning?
Good question, Bonnie.
It is the pharmaceutical companies. All right. So, I mean, I think perhaps they really believe they're helping you. But in our experience, the children with the worst cases of oppositional defiance and conduct disorder are the next leaders of the world, and they're children. And so they don't have the verbal skills or even the abstract way of thinking to be able to say, hey, mom, dad, empower me. Let me set some goals. Stop giving me everything. Like, they don't even know what it would be to help them. They just know that they don't want to be told what to do. They want free will to be able to choose. They have a strong desire for you to see who they really are, their greatness, their genius, their style. You know what I mean? So I remember when I was a kid and I had like this little, it was like a crocheted shawl, right? And it was like had a bunch of holes in it and everything. But I remember being 7 or 8 years old and I wanted to wear it as a skirt to a baseball game. My mom played baseball and my mom refused to let me wear this as a skirt because it wasn't a skirt. It was a shawl and it had holes in it. She had her own reasons why. But my mom will tell you that I was oppositional defiant when I was a child. She's like, oh my God, if there was a name for it, that was you. And I will tell you, because I know, I have the memories that all I wanted from my mother was for her to love me for me, was for her to see that I could wear it as a skirt and how pretty it was, and to validate so I didn't think that I was weird or off the mark somehow. Are you with me on this? So what we're seeing are the leaders of the future. And this is really important. The children of today are our future tomorrow. Yes? Right? And so what we're seeing is the children that are the most oppositional. There's a law of polarity. These become the most helpful, outstanding, kind, champion citizens around. So no matter how bad it is for you, and I know this can be really hard to believe, we didn't choose to be here. We didn't make up some program so we could go sell a parenting program. We are here, passion-driven, heart-driven, with a dream that is over 30 years old to find a way to empower kids. And the kids are in trouble right now. It's like every single family has a child with a mental disorder, whether it be anxiety or ADHD or depression. And the number one cause of suicide the number one cause of death for teenagers on a global scale right now is suicide. So we take our business very seriously. And I mean, we have a free video series. I'll put the link in the comments below. And I'm also going to share video part 1, 2, and 3 with you underneath this video so you can watch the whole story and how it manifested. You're going to see us all over the place pretty soon. We're going to be all over TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, podcast, everything, because it's time to double down and get the message out. So
and at the end of the day, do you have the courage? This is something for you to ask and answer for yourself. Do you have the courage to actually question everything you know about parenting today that may not be in your best interest or your kid's future? Do you have the courage just to question it? Because if you do, then the I don't know has got to go, and that there's something wrong and you have to medicate them. Well, there's another option over here that's been off your radar. And if you do have that passion to just challenge it and come take a peek, you'll find the 3, and you too will be able to exercise your free will, because can't, or don't care, who else is really inside there?
Right. And so I want to challenge you. If you're watching this and you're like, yeah, right, you don't know my story, you don't know my kids, bring us your kids. Let us show you. Let us put, how do you say, put your money where your mouth is? Put your mouth, how do you say that saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Put your money where your mouth is. Or bring us your kids and let us show you in like 5 minutes the power of creating champions for life. So if you've watched this, thank you so much for being a part of our journey, for listening to our story. And if you want to learn more, just go to our website, creatingchampionsforlife.com, and you can learn all about us from there.
So until we meet again, here's to your parenting success. Cheers.
Bye for now.